Okay, welcome everybody. Hello and welcome to Explore Nature with Girl Gone Good as part of our AC Summer Market. My name is Susan, for those of you who haven't joined one of my sessions yet today. So I'm with the college events team here at Algonquin College, and I'm going to be your host today. In this session, we'll be hearing from Victoria Walsh, also known as Girl Gone Good, about the best trails in Ottawa area to visit this summer. I started following her on Instagram, and her content is fantastic. So before we get started, I'm just going to go over some housekeeping rules. If you need closed captioning, you'll see at the bottom there's a little icon that says CC, and closed captioning is available in English. So please turn that on if you need to. This is an open session. We're in a meeting so that we can see everyone's face, and the whole idea of AC Summer Market is that we're engaging with each other and we're able to see each other. I've already said in the other sessions that I led, we're not on campus, we're working remotely. There's pros and cons, obviously, but we just want to make sure that everyone's still getting engaged, and that's what AC Market is all about. It's a beautiful day outside, and we're learning lots and getting ready for our summer. So make sure that if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, and I can ask them to Victoria once we do the Q&A. So with that, I want to welcome Victoria and give a bit of an introduction. Wait until you hear about this girl. Okay, so Victoria is the founder of Girl Gone Good. She is a military veteran, an IT consultant, and a future nurse, an Algonquin College alumni. So shout out for that. It may sound like an odd mix of interest and experience. However, adventure, media, and health are the backbone of Girl Gone Good. The mission of Girl Gone Good is to promote the prioritization of wellness while exploring nature through safe and responsible recreation. So important. Victoria is an avid hiker and loves sharing her favorite local hiking spots with others. Victoria averages 50 plus hikes a year and is slowly learning more about the local flora and fauna along the way. In her eyes, connection and experience is everything. I love that. So with that, I want to say thank you to Victoria for being here today. And I'm going to turn it over to you to enlighten us on the information that you have to share.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Susan. Thanks everyone for having me today. Quite the thing to talk to so many people at once over Zoom, of course. Okay, so I think just to set the stage, really, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Girl Gone Good and who I am, what I offer. I'm going to go through how to really redefine the way that you hike in order to increase your engagement and connection to self, others, and the land. I'm going to give some trail recommendations for inside the city of Ottawa and give you some good alternative trails in comparison to those busy trails that we have. And then at the end in the chat, I will post a whole slew of links and resources that will not only, prepare yourself for an adventurous summer, but my goodness, you're not going to be bored until next year if you want. Okay, so let's dive right in. So my name is Victoria. I run the website girlgonegood.com. I have had that for about 10 years now. I'm an avid day hiker, among other things. This really came to the forefront because I just hike so much that people were asking for recommendations and resources, and then it just kind of slowly built from there. Now, let's take a look at the last 2 years, which has been kind of wild for the Ottawa and Ottawa region. So Ottawa and region at the beginning, pre-pandemic, we were, we're a cool bunch, but we're a little bit of weekend warriors, and Ottawa as a whole picks up and moves over to Gatineau Park on the weekends, and maybe we'll go explore some local trails in our neighborhoods, and that's kind of about it. We know what we know. And then the pandemic starts, and what we really saw there was all of a sudden a huge increase in new hikers and a huge increase of dog owners. Those things seem to happen in tandem. And really what it was is or what I believe it is our increased need for connection and that ecotherapy that being in nature provides in order to balance out the craziness of the last year or so, which is fantastic. But what has happened is we're trying to catch up everyone's need to be outside with the ability to be outside safely and with respect to nature. So the trails became overburdened. The species at risk became impacted. We're spreading invasive species. There's an increase of trash and overcrowding, a misunderstanding of etiquette with your dog and shared trails. We've even seen an increase of lost hikers and hikers in distress. I know the OPP has seen an increase. Does that an increase in incidents as well? And some of the police services have reached out for advice on safe hiking that we could spread to everyone. But now we're kind of turning a curve. And that curve is we have an awesome community and responsible recreation is becoming trendy. At least I hope, and I think in my eyes, it's becoming trendy. And responsible recreation, the more that increases and our awareness increases, well, the more that we could all hike safely and just really just build on that community awareness, spirit, responsible tourism kind of piece. So, Girl Gone Good mission. My mission is to promote the prioritization of wellness while exploring nature for all persons through safe and responsible recreation. And I really believe that nature is for everyone, and try really hard on my website to spread awareness on trails that will accommodate everybody's needs, whether that's mild mobility or bus routes, or if you're a coffee lover and want your trails near a coffee shop, or if you're a family, or if you need boardwalks. I try to really promote those resources. Safe and responsible recreation is not a sexy term. You could still get your awesome Instagram pictures while going out and exploring the trails, but I want to share how to do it in a manner that doesn't put you at risk, doesn't minimize the experience for others, and doesn't negatively impact the environment that you're in. So our ethos, or my ethos at Girl Gone Good, is three aspects of it. We are guests in nature. Let us care for and protect her, as nature's health and our own are connected. We are guests on Indigenous lands, Métis, First Nations, Nook lands. Let us seek to understand, respect, and actively advocate. We are guests of land and trail managers. Let us abide by their guidelines and rules. Sorry. There's really like different types of trails, or different types of lands that you'll find trails on. There's private land open to the public. There's public lands, crown land, different types. And you kind of have to understand that with those different types of lands comes different access and different behavior expected from those recreating on those lands. So I'm going to go first with connection to self. So it's going to be connection to self, connection to others, connection to land, and we're going to have all the hiking hacks and tidbits in there before I get to the trail recommendations. So connection to self, I really want to flip this on to, there's the mindful piece and connecting with nature. We do have a really good resource in Ottawa. Her name's Lori from Trees and Breathe. She does mindful journaling and ecotherapy, forest bathing sessions for everyone. She is wonderful. And again, I'll provide all those links at the end of this so that it'll be easier for you guys. So there really is that connection to nature, which I think we could all admit that we feel better after immersing ourselves in nature, right? So we all know that piece. I'm going to flip it over to the piece about safety and maybe some things that we just don't know to think about that would really help our hiking. So the first one is solo hiker safety. So these points are points that I find that aren't, like we just don't know all the time. So there's some that are obvious, like always let someone know your trail, your route, and what time you're going to come back. I am in my 40s and I still text my mother to say what trail I'm going on and when I should be back. Okay. She's my safety person. If you're hiking solo, choose a popular trail. Hike in groups or bring your dog. Catch up. If someone's giving you the creeps or you're just not sure, oh my goodness, follow those gut instincts. Try to catch up to another group ahead of you on the trails. If you have your phone on, or if there's cell reception, keep your phone on, sorry. If there's no cell reception, and those are things that you'll find in my trail reports, it'll say if there's cell reception or not. If there's no cell reception, consider purchasing, either don't go to those trails or purchase yourself a GPS spotter for emergencies. If there's other people on the trail and they're giving you a bad vibe, don't disclose that you're alone. Make up excuses like, oh, I'm just catching up to my friend ahead, or oh, my boyfriend just went behind to go grab something and I'm going to meet him here at the parking lot. I have the most amazing imaginary partners in the face of the world. Don't hike with earphones in. If you're insistent about hiking with podcasts and music, which I do love as well, only hike with one earbud in. That's for safety and awareness, right? Don't wander off the trail. Number one rule, don't wander off the trail ever. Not only for your safety, but for the environment. If your gut tells you that something's off, leave. And never, ever in the world of social media, don't post your location and what you're doing and what trail you're on until you are back in your car and you have left the area. That is my number one tip. I know we all want to post and Snapchat and TikTok and all that jazz from the scenic lookout and shout it out to the world. Wait until you're back in your car. Okay, so that's for solo hikers. And I don't say this in vain. I actually got inappropriately approached and followed on an Ottawa City trail last year and ended up calling OPS for support. We engaged all the proper steps. Ottawa police confirmed that I did all the proper steps. It ended well. So what I'm saying is, please keep all these awareness pieces in mind if you're going to hike by yourself. Now, for those that have children in the crowd, this is a big gap that I'm finding within our community. So even if you don't have children, you might find this helpful either for yourself or while hiking with friends. So please consider teaching your children to carry their own mini emergency gear while hiking. Now, there is going to be a divide, whether it's younger children or older children, so keep that in mind while I say these points. Always stay on the trail. How and when to use an emergency whistle. Okay, like if they know, it's the same as teaching your kid to call 911. They know not to joke around with calling 911, teach them the same aspect with whistles. When to call 911, and that it's okay to call 911 when they're lost. Sometimes with children, we miss that piece that they're kind of apprehensive to ask for help. Teach them if they're lost, it's okay to call 911. Teach them how to send a Google Map pin drop to 911. If they don't have the code to your phone, tell them the code to your phone. I know that's a parents will be like, no. But if you're out hiking with them, I know they can make the emergency call by themselves, but it's really helpful for them to access things like the compass. 911 operators are really awesome with telling people how to send a pin drop and use the compass. Another thing is the app called What 3 Words. Again, I'll put the link after this. What 3 Words is it's 3 words that geolocate your exact position that you could give to OPP in order to find you. So I know OPP in the Northeast region use this especially, along with some of the emergency services here around the Ottawa Valley. Oh, how to identify, and this is something that you could play games with kids too to teach them that awareness piece, or maybe scavenger hunts when you're going out with kids on the trail. And this is a good one for us as well, is how to identify significant features and to look backwards as you hike. There are some trails that are super easy to get turned around on, and some that are very popular, and you think, oh, I'm going to have no problems with this, but are easy to turn around. I think Calabogie is one of them. If you go around the Manitou Mountain, I don't know how many times where you're like, I think it's this trail. So a good habit to teach is to look behind you and to identify features. Again, if they have to make that emergency call, okay, to my right, I could see a hydro tower. To my left, the sun is setting, whatever the feature may be. Teach them how to react safely to wildlife. A lot of people don't know how to react properly to bears, and that's on the provincial website. There's a whole spot on how to react to bears to de-escalate the situation and when to call and who to call. The dangers of seemingly safe waterways. I don't know how many times I've seen people either jumping off the bridges, which gives me mild heart attacks for kids and adults, jumping off the bridges, or going swimming in a river after a heavy rain. So this is things that we don't think about. So riverways, if they have a significant tree population along the riverways, then that tree population usually filters out any pollution or off-run. A lot of our riverways don't have significant trees on either side of them. We have increased bacteria levels, we have pollution runoff, we have farm runoff. So it is not always safe to swim in riverways after heavy rain. So that's a good one to keep note of. To teach kids, always stay in sight of an adult. If you can't see the adult can't see you. To never go closer than your adult to the cliff or the viewpoint. To not throw rocks over a cliff. Why? Because in Ottawa and Ottawa Valley, a lot of our cliffs are used for climbers, and hikers and new hikers were just not aware of that. And sometimes kids, like, you're over, you got a beautiful valley viewpoint in front of you, you're going to pitch a rock or a stick or whatever. But that's actually really dangerous for the climbers below. Could cause injury or worse. So that's a point of awareness that I'd like to get across. To only hike for older kids, to only hike with a buddy or an adult if it's younger kids. There was about a month and a half ago that we had a 12-year-old lost in Canada Woods, ended up calling 911. They ended up being okay at the end of the day, but the 911 operator was genius and managed to help the child navigate her way out of the trails. Always stick to the planned route and to tell an adult. And last point with kids is let them know that if they are lost or if there's a medical emergency, it is always okay to ask a stranger for help. So as parents and aunts and uncles, we always advise kids of the opposite, never talk to strangers, and that will create hesitancy in emergency situations. So to let them know very clearly that in an emergency situation, they are expected to ask strangers for help. A last point on that too, that I should mention is not only should they be able to access your phone and be able to call for help, it is helpful to carry as an adult, even if you're hiking with friends really, all your pertinent information and medication on you. And make sure that the kid knows where that card is, with your name, with your home address, with any drug allergies. Do you have any current conditions? What medications you're on? Have a little card in your wallet and make sure that your hiking buddy or your child knows where that is, so that if something happens to you on the trail, the emergency staff will have more information than nothing. And that could really help you out, okay? Personally, I overpack on the trails, And I always carry, above and beyond the emergency kit and the health first aid kit, I carry chewable aspirin and naloxone, which sounds funny, but how often do you go hiking and you come across like young hikers, campers that are partying, or anyone else on the trails? Really, I shouldn't blank brush that, but yeah. So personally, I have chewable aspirin, naloxone, and an EpiPen for others. So I'm always carrying a lot. So that was the self portion. So now I want to really focus on others. So for others, let's dig right into a few things. Trail etiquette for others. So if you're not aware of the 7 leave no trace principles, again, I'll provide the link. I really advise that if you're engaging in outdoor recreation, that you learn and adopt those principles. So that's plan ahead and prepare, travel and camp on durable surfaces, dispose of waste properly, leave what you find, minimize campfire impact, respect wildlife, and be considerate of other visitors. The 2 things that I'm seeing the most on the trails are dog poop bags and toilet paper. Boys, you are off the hook. The toilet paper is not you. It's us, okay? For us ladies in the audience, if you have whatever, if you can't make it to a washroom, follow the leave no trace principles for outdoor toileting, and you could find that on their website. If you don't like going to the washroom out there, you have to follow those principles. And caveat, boys, wear earmuffs maybe. I really advise wearing a panty liner if you're out for a long hike and there's not nearby washrooms, okay? It just makes toileting in nature more friendly for females. All right, that's as maybe gross as I'll get on this on this one, but it's an important point. It's an important point. Dogs and dog poop bags. I have a very lengthy ultimate guide to hiking with dogs in Ottawa and region post, which I'll put in the links below. Very pertinent this year. There are dog poop bags everywhere, and there is some common misconceptions. A lot of it's not done maliciously. A lot of it is done either because the dog poop bag is compostable. So of course I'm going to chuck it on the side of the trail. That's okay. Or I'm going to leave the dog poop bag and I'm going to pick it up on my way back. And those 2 things are not okay for very specific reasons. It's not the dog poop bags, although it is to a degree. It's the dog poop itself. Even healthy dogs have bacteria and parasites within their excrements. So it's not okay to leave it in nature because it wouldn't normally be there. And we're feeding them a different kind of food than we would our local fauna, right? So there's impact on the flora and fauna from dog poop. So if you don't like carrying the dog poop bag the entire trail, which is totally okay and understandable, my personal hack, and I love dogs, so my personal hack is to carry one of those extra large Ziploc bags or an empty peanut butter container and put the dog poop bag in there in your bag. And that way you don't have to worry about the smell, you don't have to worry about it spilling, and it's all taken care of. Another impact, I'm not going to share everything from that article, but when it relates to dogs, our dogs are our responsibility, and I can't drive that point home enough. If you are taking your dog on the trail, if it is an on-leash trail, then the dog is to stay on leash. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If it's an off-leash park, we could allow our dogs to go off leash. And if there's no dogs allowed, there are no exceptions. And a few reasons I could highlight now is that, one,
Sorry, can I just interrupt for 2 quick seconds?
Yeah,
We have
for
a question in the chat, and I think there's people are really curious to hear a little bit more about the trails kind of in the local area. So thank you, Ken, for your question. So Ken asked, I hike a lot, but I'm new in town. What's the one trail I need to go on first?
Oh my goodness, all of them. So I actually have a list of city trails that I'm going to share right after this section, if that's all right. Yeah.
Victoria, we're just looking at time. So,
sorry.
like,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh my goodness.
no worries.
We're going.
Information is so great. But yeah, maybe
Sure.
if you want to get into the trails, and then we can get some questions in as well if we have time.
You know what I'll do? I'll speed things up and I'll put it right in the chat so everybody has it. You don't have to worry about writing it down.
Perfect.
All right. My trail recommendations for within the city of Ottawa: Marlborough Forest from E3, great for forest immersion, just be aware of bears. Morris Island Conservation Area, fantastic for sunrise, and it kind of looks like a group of sevens landscape. Carp River Conservation Area, it's really new, it's still within the city, cool for sunsets. Constance Bay has a forest, and there's a lot of wildlife in there, and it's a great spot to paddle for sunset if you're up to sup and kayaking. Osgood Link Trail is fantastic for long distance runs and bikers. And Baxter Conservation Area they are actually aiming to be the most accessible conservation area within the city, and they're getting there. So they have the beach ramp and everything else. Let me speed up and just say this, because I do think it's important. There are 3 places in Ottawa that have the most overcrowding. They are Eagle's Nest, Gatineau Park, and Rock Dunder. The environment there is seeing the impact of overcrowding. Here are my suggestions instead of those areas. And those trails and trail information is available on my website. And before we get into questions, because really the last bit anyway would be solved within these links, I am going to share with you all the resource links right now, and then away we go. Sometimes I forget how much I could talk about this subject.
Awesome. So I'm going to prompt everyone as Victoria posts those links, and those are amazing resources. If anyone has a question, there was one there, and obviously we've posted, or Victoria has posted her favorites. If there's any more questions, please put them in the chat, or you can raise your hand and ask them live. I'm looking at the time. Okay. Looking at the time, obviously if we go a couple minutes over, that's not a big deal, but I just wanted to make sure we give everyone an opportunity to ask any questions if you had any. Just to let everyone know, this session is recorded. It will be posted on the AC Hub On Demand website, so you can look for that in the coming days. And then same thing with all of Victoria's amazing resources. We can post it on our website, but obviously you can go to her website to get the information, and that's there as well. So Victoria, we hate that, obviously, like, so much good information, right? It gets hard. I can be the same. You start talking about something that you love and you're passionate about, a half an hour has gone by without even knowing it. So I think what I'd like to say is, if there's any last quick notes that you want to make to the group, I'm going to ask you to do that, and then we'll just have our sign off. Sorry, to you, Victoria, if there's any last minute, anything that you want to add.
Hiking is for everyone. Be safe first. Check out where you're going before you go, and share the trails, and be curious. For the love of everything, hiking is all about being curious and connecting with nature.
Awesome. Excellent tips. So I'm going to say thank you to Victoria so much. Again, be sure to check out her social media, her website. I have started following her, and just seeing her posts on social makes me want to get out, check out new areas, and obviously be safe while doing that. So I just want to say thank you very much, Victoria, for joining us today. I want to say thank you to the college community for coming to this session. I think it's been a great AC summer market. I'm so happy that we still get to do this. even though that we are virtual. And with that, I want to say thank you to everybody, and for everyone to go enjoy this beautiful day and enjoy their summer. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks.